Okay, guys, I'm going to finish chapter 4 and then continue with chapter 5. So we left off right here. How could a girl of 12 make up such a solemn prayer? As Zephyr was repeating the last line of her song, rustling sounds behind him made Jomar wheel around. A dozen men stood gazing at Zephyr with rapt expressions. He had no idea how long they'd been there. Chapter 5. Jomar sprang to his feet and stood over Zephyr, his hand gripping her shoulder. Zephyr stopped singing, opened her eyes, and saw the group gathered in front of them. She looked up at Jomar with alarm. A tall, heavy-set man stepped forward. His fine linen garment stretched tight across his large belly. The men behind him wore frayed sandals and rough cotton tunics that hung loosely on their thin frames. All carried knives attached to their belts, and digging tools rested on their shoulders. Gesturing towards Zephyr, the stout man spoke to Jomar. A good voice, a good musician, surprising for one so young. Jomar tried not to show his fear or anger. Hadn't he urged Zephyr to leave her lyre behind? This man who spoke with such easy authority could only cause trouble. Why are you two in the road alone? The man emphasized the last word of his question. Alone. I go to Ur to be an apprentice to Siddha, a temple goldsmith, Jomar said. The man studied Zephyr with calculating eyes. And the little lyre player? What will she do? I'll find work for her, Jomar said. The man shook his head. That'll be hard to do in the city, but there's work to be done here. I'm Malak, sent by the temple to patrol the irrigation system and see that it's clear of rubble. He glared at the men. The moon god is displeased with you farmers for letting the canals and reservoirs fill with rocks, dead plants, and silt. You've forgotten that you live and work on land that is owned by Nana's temple. The sullen men were silent until one spoke out. We've kept our waterways clear in the past, but the long drought has made us lose hope. Malak turned to Jomar. These farmers have no faith that the moon god will eventually provide for his people. Soon you'll be a man, so you must join my crew. I can't. The goldsmith waits for me, Jomar said. But when the drought is over and I return to our farm, I'll gladly join your work crew. Malak snorted. When you return. It's the custom that an apprentice can leave only if he's been poorly taught. Jomar was stunned. Raised in the country, he knew nothing of city rules that govern craftsmen and their apprentices. Malak dipped his head in mock courtesy. Be on your way to this man who works with glorious gold. The girl will stay to help with meals and keep up the spirits of the men with her music. You can't separate us. Jomar's hand tightened on Zephyr's shoulder. She's my sister. Ah, but I can, Malak said. I'm a temple official with the authority to enslave any child found wandering far from home without a parent. But she has parents, Jomar cried out. Malak slowly looked around. I do not see them. He turned to Zephyr. You're thin. You'll be well fed in return for your work. Jomar felt weak. With an effort, he pulled his eyes away from Malak and looked at the other men. Most seemed sympathetic, but a few looked more entertained than concerned. Two men with their heads thrust forward towards Zephyr frightened him. I'll join your workforce, Jomar said quietly. He felt Zephyr's shoulders sag with relief under his grip. A thin smile played on Malak's lips. You will receive Nana's blessings for your efforts. The smirk disappeared. I've wasted enough time with the two of you. Girl, see that old man stirring the pot? Help him prepare the evening meal. Jomar bent down to whisper a promise of protection to Zephyr, words he knew would be difficult for him to uphold. Malak's hand cut the air. Leave her. There's work to be done.